Give Professor Tucker a hand, please.
Thank you. This is fantastic. I just wish I had a half hour with each of these people so I could ask my own questions. But hey, I'm here to help you ask questions. This has been an outstanding session. I know all of you are brimming with issues and answers. I think that Ms. Mims, PhD candidate Mims, says, I hope that the White House initiative continues after we change the White House. If we do, we will. And of course, from the NEA, FEA, I have a long experience with them. I was a union organizer too. So, and of course, Curtis Richardson has been in all aspects of government in this state. That's why he knows so much. He covers all of the bases, and I enjoy talking to him. I grab him anytime I can to twist his arm to see what's going on. Okay, come to the microphones there on each side. Try to keep your questions and comments brief, and look forward to Joy. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Joy Bowen. I am a Leon County School Board member, and I think I'm the only elected official in the room. So I think that means I've got nerve enough to be here this morning. The young lady said either you are on the menu or what was that other thing?
You at the table or
on the menu. Well, I feel a little bit of both today. Curtis, I need to thank you for just giving that perspective and that kind of history for all of the Leon County School Boards here, members. Mr. Dr. Webster, thank you for providing this opportunity. We have many of our teachers here from Leon County Schools today, and I'm very proud of that. I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask, some suggestions. I wonder, Dr. Webster, if you might consider for the next conference having a listing made, or perhaps for this one, of the kinds of things that could be done to provide additional assistance and help to our teachers and our administrators in what we see and what we've said here to help them improve the quality of education for poor and black students. I think that would be of great service. So I think we do some things well. We certainly want to be here today to hear these things that you all were suggesting. For the team that talked about accountability, I have a question as well. What are your recommendations for shifting the focus in DA schools from strict adherence to pace and guides and excessive progress monitoring, please? To my friend, the assistant director of the FEA.
Yes.
And yeah, the question is, what are your recommendations for shifting the focus in DA schools from strict adherence to pace and guides and excessive progress monitoring?
We're going to both address it a little bit. So one of the things that we know about reading and reading comprehension is that it is incredibly dependent on context. And so you can't teach reading as skills. You must have fine arts, you must have music, you must be teaching social studies and science. And you have to address the needs of the kids in the classroom. So these pacing guides that teachers are being asked to do in some schools are so strict, and every minute you have to be in a particular place. And when the administrator comes in to evaluate a teacher, if you're not in the right place, that's just too bad, and that's a bad mark. And so it doesn't give teachers the freedom to address what their children need when they need it. So we need absolutely standards and guides, but we don't need monitors for minute-by-minute instruction.
Yeah. So I'll just add, teachers don't need a script. They really don't. Teachers know the students better than any other place. Some ivory tower folks believe that we can change the career of teaching and educating to a blue-collar, effort, and do as I say do, be at this place at this time. And our students are not widgets. They don't come off the shelf, and they don't come with this type of boxed-in type of education. We know at the best of our public schools there is freedom and autonomy and abilities to think. We need to take a page from the higher academic folks and give these students an opportunity to find answers. Give our teachers the opportunity to dig deep into higher educational kind of thinking. But we don't do that. We give them a script, we give them a pacing guide, we say be here, be there, when we come in the room you better have this on the board and this works. And that is not education. It will never be public education, and especially for minority children where they need the freedom and the creativity to invoke into a conversation so that they feel validated as well as they can find out what the facts are instead of being told. Kids, knuckleheads like me don't want to be told what to do. They want to be able to find that answer. And when you develop a script, when you develop a pacing guide, and when you tell people to do as I say do, and these people have a college degree, they went into education because they know what is going to be right for these kids, that's not good public policy. That is not good legislative agenda. And that, we have changed this from the school of education to the business of education and the politics of education. And we better get on board, like Mr. Richardson said, and start voting people in who will change these laws. So the one suggestion that I have is if you're an educator, you better be voting for somebody who will help us to change the agenda that's coming down from our legislature for the last 20 years.
Final follow-up question to that. Is your office in a position to affect the kind of change that you were just talking about? And if not, where do we go yet to have that done, and as soon as possible?
Yeah, well, I'd like to think we're in a position. I'd like to think that every teacher should be a member of the Florida Education Association and is helping to advocate the same things that we're trying to articulate here. We're all over this state. We've changed our agenda to dealing with the lowest 300 academically performing schools in the state as identified by the Department of Education. And so we are sending this message that we need more autonomy in our schools, that we need to have more teacher-controlled tests, because there used to be a time and space where an end-of-course exam came as your final exam from your teacher that they created over a weekend because they knew what they taught you. That is no longer the case in the state of Florida. That test is coming from somebody else who developed something else, who doesn't know anything about your kids. They don't know about this, what you have to deal with or those obstacles. And so yes, we believe that we're in a position to effectuate that change, but the power is still in the people. The people vote these folks in, you must vote these folks out, and you must pay attention to what they're doing in public education. Because what's happening in our state legislature is not right on many different levels. It's just not right. It's criminal. It's criminal what's going on as it relates to public education, and teachers in this audience can tell you that. No matter if you're at a good school or bad school, you've been teaching 1 year, 40 years, you've never seen anything in public education like you've seen it right now.
My name is Tommy Mitchell. I'm a retired university educator and currently a student case specialist at Second Chance, an alternative school for kids who've been removed from the public school system. My question, Ms. Mims, is because there is a known correlation between academic achievement and family income, and as we're talking about graduation rates now, because we also know there is a correlation between family income and graduation rates on a college level, is there a time now to activate or initiate a national anti-poverty program to make sure that the poor kids
that are 15 and 16 years old themselves, that's a little difficult, and where I am, I see that all the time. So it's a challenge, but we've got to not only have the parents involved, but if there are deadbeat parents, then we've got to be involved with those children. And you've got a young man coming up behind you who's involved in programs like that, where if you have to be a surrogate parent or a role model or a mentor, and take the place of that deadbeat parent. We cannot neglect that child because of a deadbeat parent. They still have to have those examples and role models and opportunities and be convinced that the sky is the limit.
Can I personalize for 1 second?
Go ahead.
I just want to personalize really quick. I have 3 kids. And I have an older son, 17, he was just here, his mom just picked him up, because I wanted him to hear some of this conversation today. I have a 16-year-old daughter and I have a 10-year-old daughter. And between my wife and I, we have 6 college degrees that hang on our wall. And my son can care less. My son can care less. And because when my son graduates high school, we're going to celebrate that like PhD. Because it's jumping over that. That doesn't make my kid but that still makes him my responsibility. I cannot give up on that kid. We've got to, as a society, do better. You know, that's why I hold true to this, to the older generation, because the village really was a village where neighbors took care of neighbors. Your cousin was your surrogate mom. Grandmother meant something in the family. Respect, morals, and character value. And church meant something. And because, you know, and I hated to go to church as a kid, I have to admit that. But all you could do as a parent is hope that they heard something from the good preacher, that when they were supposed to go left, that they would, you know, that they would think better and go right. That's what church did for me. Subliminally, it did something for me where I said a prayer and said, God, if you just get me out of this, I promise you I'd never do that. Where I had a respectful fear of my father. Where I knew he wasn't going to kill me, but I knew he would hurt me if I did something. Where I had an endearing love for my mother that I would not curse somebody out because I respected her too much. And they would not call home, and my mother would be disappointed. We're missing those family values. What you said is so critical and important. And I don't think we have an answer that's a panacea. But we've got to each one teach one and continue to make sure that these kids have a responsible role model in their lives. And what you all go through in the public school system is unheard of, where you have to be mother and father and godparent and friend and bail bondsman and all of those other things, because I've done it. I was a band director. I was the only person in a high school who could get parents to come to school. So we made that the PTA. That was the PTA school, because we had band parents. So let me stop. Okay, I'm getting left.
Okay. Over here.
Hi there, I'm Jessica Chapman, and I'm the assistant principal at Leon County Virtual School. And my previous role, I served as the district graduation coach for Leon County Schools. And I want to address Miss Kathy Bomey and Mr. Ingram regarding their presentation. The one statement that I wanted to address was the statement that said virtual schools and blended learning do not result in higher student learning. I wanted to maybe refute that a little bit and just say what we've done in Leon County. 5 years ago, Superintendent Pons assembled a team to increase student graduation rates in our district. And through blended learning and through online learning, we have increased our graduation rates immensely. Most notably, I have 5-year data because we just did a presentation to the school board. Most notably, our African American graduation rate 5 years ago was 53%. Most recently, it was 78% after a 5-year change. That's a 25% change in the last 5 years. And that is attributed to blended learning and virtual learning and our partnerships with vendors and Florida Virtual School. And here in Leon County, we have a franchise, and in that franchise, we have teachers that go to the schools and work with students. And so it's very personalized. You would think that virtual learning, the students on the computer and working on their own, and that is not the way at all. In fact, our teachers know their students and have more personal conversations, and so they're able to build that relationship and fill in those gaps. So I just wanted to say, provide a little bit of data with what we do in our district.
Okay, thank you very much. Last question.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Larry Thompson. I'm District Administrator for Leon County Schools, retired and returning. Worked with 50 Large coordinator. 50 Large is, the mission is to inspire hope, mold character, teach responsibility, and provide real opportunity for young men striving to turn their lives around. We take them to raise, literally, and we need resources. I want to speak with Ms. Mims up there in Washington, D.C. We came to life back in 2008 with federal money, OJJDP. It was a 2-year grant, and the comprehensive model was just awesome that we put into effect in this community school system and community collaboration. We've got a tremendous group of collaborators on our steering committee, intervention teams, but we just need resources. I've been to Washington to explore since then. The president put some programs in place, but there wasn't any meat on that bone. And so I just want to know if there's going to be any funding available, because we've got the model, we've got the success with young men who have been working with us. We get them through school, the success rate is impressive, but we need resources. You know, everybody wants to, wants to try to figure out what to do. Well, we know what to do with them. We take them, we love them, we keep them close. I've got partners right here in this room who invest heavily, but the resources are just so skimpy. So, hey,
Fantastic.
can you help?
Yes, you go ahead.
Yeah, I encourage definitely looking at grants.org for everyone in the room. There are a lot of grants and a lot of funding that's out there from across all things. You said OJJP which is awesome. And then also looking at My Brother's Keeper. So My Brother's Keeper has challenge grants and other initiatives as well as innovation grants. So if you have any more questions about it, you and I can kind of connect offline, but I know that now it is lunchtime.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This is outstanding. I know this is a hot button issue for everybody. This is a good choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please thank our panelists, please. All